So I've been a huge fan of indie pop music for a while now. Think of artists like Benny, Omar Apollo, Dayglow, Coin, and I've always wondered like what makes this music more indie than just regular pop music. In my opinion, the melodies and the song itself can appeal to a large audience, but the production is typically experimental, which can make the song a little more interesting. I think it can also have a nostalgic flair that comes from inspirations from older music, sometimes depending on the indie artist. So I have a song that has very simple chords, and I want to show you how I kind of turned it from a clean pop song to more of a song that was in the vein of the indie pop genre. So here are those chords. So you can already hear there that even though those chords are fairly simple, it's a little more interesting because, you know, they're kind of bouncing around, they're a little bit higher. It's not just this like straight piano that is just like playing those chords and that's all you're hearing. There's a lot more movement with the delays and whatnot. So even if a song has really simple chords, that doesn't mean that it necessarily has to be simple in the production of the song, which is kind of what I wanted to illustrate with this song that I have here. So next I want to talk about the drums, because I think the drum sounds that a lot of indie pop artists use are very key into getting that sound. Very rarely will you just hear live drums. A lot more it's either clean drum sounds mixed with samples or just samples. So with those chords that we had, let's just add some drums from a simple 808 and kind of get a nice groove going to complement those chords. So as you can hear, that drum sound isn't live. It doesn't sound like someone's actually playing a kit. It sounds like someone's programming it and sequencing it from a drum machine, which is what we actually ended up doing for this song. As you notice, the chord progression isn't super jazzy. It's not super experimental or anything like that. But if we add some interesting textures, let's say some more synthesizers, some really cool guitars, maybe some really nice reverbs, that can take that song, make it super interesting and a little more experimental and get that indie pop sound. So let's kind of do that. This beat already sounds pretty nostalgic to me, like reminiscent of some sounds you would hear in like the 70s and the 80s with the drums and the guitars and the Juno chords. So I feel like it would be good to add some nostalgic lyrics and melodies that kind of complement the instrumental that we've already made. It moves so fast when I'm with you. So throughout the song, my goal is to really just add to each section and make the song feel very dynamic by adding just weird textures, weird synthesizers, and also just making those melodies very singable still while having this experimental production. So for example, here's the very last chorus, and just kind of pay attention to some of the different sounds that we added, some of the sounds that we kept in throughout the whole song. So if you listen to where the mix is, it's not super bright and clean. A lot of the key elements like the guitars, the synthesizers, even the drums are mixed with not a ton of high end. The only thing that has a lot of high end would be maybe the vocals. And in my opinion, the melodies are also interesting but singable, and I think the production complements that well. So to recap, if you're trying to make an indie pop song, you can use, whatever chords you know. They don't have to be these intricate chords. It can literally just be 2 chords back and forth if you want to. The more important thing to focus on is dialing in the sounds that you want, especially drums, synthesizers, and guitars. I think those are 3 things that if you focus on making those, really interesting and maybe more on the experimental end, and then think of what you're singing and what you want other people to sing as kind of the element in the song that you want to be a little more simple and singable, so that when people hear the song, it's immediately catchy to them and they're able to sing along. This song is called Satellite, and it actually comes out on March 17th. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. Go ahead and comment down below what you think makes an indie pop song. I'd love to hear what you think. I will try to respond to whatever comments come through.